Welcome back, folks. What am I up to now? I honestly don't even know. Whatever I name this video at the end of the week, you'll know what I'm doing this week more than I am. It's the first day out in the shop for this week. I'm going to work on this fuel fill some more. And if you're never going to do one, it's probably the best idea, by the way. Then I'm sorry if I'm boring you, but this is taking up a lot of time. So that's what my videos are about. But I do have some issues I forgot to mention last time, too. I'll go through this in detail when I get you closer. I haven't got a ton done on it. Just a lot of adjustments, a lot of custom involved in this. My warning to you is do not make the mistake that I'm making, but to buy this for, I don't know what it is now, 120 bucks. I think I've seen them for 60. I don't know what parts they come with, but I think there's only one maker of this pocket fuel fill. It just depends on what you get in the kit, I guess. I don't know. But if you think you're going to do this in a weekend, then you're way better than I am. This isn't for the average garage guy. Wow. But if you're interested in doing one, watch my videos. I'll show you all the details and all the things I run into, the troubles, the things to do, the things not to. It's kind of broke up. If you want to wait till fall or winter, then you can watch my condensed video. I hope Jeff can help me with that. I'm just going to cut out all the parts you need to see, put them in one video, and I'll post it. Otherwise, you can just watch me struggle through it. Good stuff. Right now, I've got a stir stick from Paint Stir Stick in there to hold it up where I want it exactly, and it wasn't heavy enough, so I put a pair of pliers on there. I was going to have this screwed in so that if anything happened, you could unscrew it and pull it out. Well, for me, that's not going to happen. Not even, no, it's not possible for me. If this ever gets in a car wreck, or in this case, a truck wreck, but an accident, and this bedside needs replaced, yeah, it won't be easy to get it out. But if you're replacing the bedside anyway, you can chop and cut and get inside and figure out what I've done. What I think I'm going to have to do at this point is I'm going to have to sneak inside of the backup light hole and catch me a little bead of weld in the back corner to keep that top solid in there. And then the screws I tried to put in the side, we had to bend it out, screw it, bend it back. Now they're not going to line up. So the bottom line is I'm going to plug weld it twice in this side. The right side doesn't need to be done because of the way it sits in there. So that's what's coming up. And then I'll talk about how the lens doesn't fit, how the wires don't fit, how it doesn't fit in the truck, how even when they made it, it looks good coming out of the box, but there's so many parts about it that aren't right. I almost have to buy another one to show you the before and after, but I'm not that big into just this. But trust me, lots of grinding, lots of filing, lots of cutting, lots of manipulation on that project. Right now, before I go, I keep bringing up these $20 things. If you can find something on your truck that only costs 20 bucks to replace, my theory is $20 isn't nothing anymore. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of $20 bills, I know, in our pocket. But when you can really sharpen your truck up for $20 or less, I'm going to do a video just on that in the future. Pick out all my things. But door handles. Every time you or a passenger gets into this vehicle, they're going to look it over and say, "Ah, that's cool, that's cool." They're not looking at details. They're looking at the big picture. There's a lot to take in. They're going to miss all those little things that are good or bad. But as soon as they reach for the door to get in, or you every day when you drive it, you're going to look at that door handle. It's just what we do to grab the door handle. We're back to how our mind works to make things look really good. So that the first thing they do when they go to get in the truck is grab the door handle, and it's all pitted, nasty, and scratchy on their hand, and the thumb don't work good, and they got a monkey with it. I don't care how nice the truck is. In their mind, they're going to think, a nice truck, but So for $20, you can buy brand new door handles. Now it's $20 a side. I get that, but there's not too many $20 items to show you. You can get a brand new, cheap, China-made door handle. Yeah, it isn't perfect. It may not be as nice as the original ones, although I haven't noticed anything that isn't. They're pretty nice for 20 bucks. They even write left hand on it in case you can't figure it out. But somebody walks up to the truck, boom. Oh, this is a nice truck, and this is nice. That's $20, folks. The other ones I always talk about are taillight lenses, side marker lenses. They get chalky, they get dirt ground into each little nook and cranny and crevice, and you got to toothbrush it out. It never looked that good. I think they're $12 for the back ones. The side ones, last I know, were 6 or 8. So let's just say under $20 for sure. You could put taillights on 1 month, do the marker lights the next month. This is basically pocket change. You can upgrade your truck to the things people are going to see. Taillights behind you, people are looking at them. So it's just these old crusty ones. They get foggy in the corner. I don't care how much you clean them. They just don't look good. This one's got chips all on the top. Classic for 12. I think $12. So keep that in mind as you're watching me do things and you think, I got good door handles. Well, okay, but you could make it a little better. My whole thing in this entire project and with every project is we start with just making it better every time we come in the shop. Even if you're driving a vehicle like my 72, make it a little better once a year. Do something to it. It's just pocket money if you do it slowly. All right, let's get to work. Over here on the infamous tailgate project, it hasn't been that bad. We got the handle in there, and she's nice and square, so I'm happy with that. So I went to roughing it up and scrubbing it down and getting some 600 sandpaper on there so I don't have sandpaper marks like the door I got to redo. Yeah, I know you guys don't like to hear me shake that. Sorry. Something I didn't think about. And I went and looked on my old 72. Remember, I picked that one all the time because it's the original one. I know that's all original. The spot welds from when they folded this door around, however the machine did it, this outside skin and the inside skin touch in this bent area, and maybe that's why they gave it that look. See, I don't know what GM and why they decided to make this particular bends in here. I'm assuming the first one is for strength, and then this inside dent is to keep the inner and outer from bowing and slopping around. It gives it more strength when you sit on the tailgate or put something on it. That center where they touch is going to dissipate the weight out amongst both inner and outer. Clever. But when they did that, they spot welded it. So when you start sanding it, you got these little metal bumps on there or a little low spot. I know if you're making a $50,000-$60,000 retro mod, you might want to use body filler and go in there and spend a couple 3 hours on it. But GM didn't, and I sure ain't gonna do it. So I did find some of the ones here that threw me off, but as I got to looking, those are for spot welding the end caps on for the hinges and all that. So I knocked them all down. They're very smooth. You're gonna just see them just like you do on the original primer time. This is a self-etching primer. I'm gonna put a medium coat on it. Not gonna do 2 or 3, not on this. And it's kind of pricey too. So I'm going to cover the whole tailgate, but I usually go around first and hit the bare metal. Of course, on this, there's a lot. But the idea is you need it on the bare metal. You don't really need it on everything else. But because these remanufactured parts, I'm not going to make it on one can. These remanufactured parts have just the slightest, softest, thinnest coat of whatever it is, primer that they cover it with to keep it from rusting. So when you 600 wet sand this, you're going right to metal. Even though it looks black, I've got 99% of it off. So you're really self-etching. I know there's other ways. I think I just talking and I did a run. And that's not an excuse. There are other ways. You don't have to do self-etching primer. They make a primer that direct to metal is all you really need. I'm the old self-etching guy. It's just the way I am. That run. I'm gonna have to sand that out. Oh, Darren. I don't care how many times you do it. You get a rattle can, you're gonna have drips and runs somewhere. It's frustrating, and it's just because they don't spray consistent. When you're using a spray gun in the shop, you've got the whole can on top with the weight of the liquid inside, so you don't get the. When I do an angle, the paint comes. At any rate, these rattle cans they're good. It's enamel. It's fine. It's gonna be okay, but it's just not my favorite. But then again, I don't want to get my spray gun out, get it all dirty, primer all out, get it mixed up and screened. And I mean, rattle can save you a ton of time. Once you do all that other stuff, yeah, it puts on a nice coat of paint, and that's important. But the setup, cleanup, it's just a lot. That's all I want to say. It's a lot. And when you're doing just one little part, it kind of isn't much fun. Although if somebody brings me a fender and says, and the paint, and they say, hey, could you paint this for me? I want it really nice. Well, I'm not a professional. I've never been to school and trained on this. But if I'm just doing one part, I can get it really nice. It might take me a week, but man, that can, it's down there. Again, saving the bottom. I'll use it on something else. Let me go get another can shook up, and I'll get this knocked out. I'll bring you guys back. Okay, folks, we're back to this, but it's real quick. I want to tell you how this went and what I did. So, yeah. All right, we got it. Let's just go here. All right, just like we talked about with the cupboard door, and then you just grab it and pull it down, and there's where it stops. That's my next thing. So what I had to do, I did have to put one spot weld up in this corner because the top was just wanting to move on me. It's a pretty good little bead. If you had to take it out, you could chisel that out or grind it if you could get a grinder in there. And then I did put a spot weld down here. It's easy to get to. So we've got it all boxed in. I got it a light coat of paint on it. This is just some satin black or flat black. I can't remember which. Just because it was so shiny in there, it's going to get dirty. It's going to get scratched up. You might as well just paint it black and it'll look fine. So I'm a little bit concerned with this because you've got to get your gasoline handle in here and hopefully let go of it enough that it don't push on this, because where that's pushing, it's hitting the bottom right here where it'll be painted. I don't like that, but what are you going to do? It will go, when you have it out of the truck, it'll go to 90 degrees. So the fuel fill part is available to go 90, but there's not a big enough hole here. I've got it pushed all the way to the top, as far as you can go. Otherwise, it wouldn't open. And this is just where it's at the bottom. The only option you would have at this point, I would run it like this. It's not ready to go to a gas station, but if you could get a handle in there and use it, and I see now it's touching there, so it's going to mess my paint up anyway. If you could get a handle in there and it not push on this, I'd probably leave it. If it were mine, there's two other options I might do. Is I might take this taillight has a ridge around the outside, a raised plastic. I might find out where it touches down here and just carve that plastic out. Now that's only going to give you a little bit, but when you're working on something, you've got an angle here. A little bit more would get you quite a ways out here. It's kind of a leverage thing. Every little tiny bit you can get down in this hinged area will drop this down more and more. That part will be up to Tom. I don't want to ruin his lens. It works and functions right. It's fitting the hole properly. The second option you would have is to take a grinder, a cutoff wheel, and go down about a ½ inch on each side. Fold that metal in so you won't have a harsh cut. You'd actually have a fold of metal, just like you do here. That's what they did. And that would lower that enough that you could open this. You see what I mean? It would go all the way down as far as you wanted. But once you do that, driving behind the truck, because the truck's white, you would notice this cut out too low, or pretty much any color except black. This would be cut out, and you'd have a hole here that you could see through right from behind the truck where everybody's looking at you. So I don't know if I like that idea, but it is a idea. On a black truck, you probably get away with it. So the other thing I had to do is the lens. I could not find a small enough bolt, because you have to have a head on one side and nut on the other, that you could put in there, because this metal goes flat against that metal, or dang close. So I had to pop rivet it. So the only thing I could do, I got a nice heavy, I don't know the number, I could probably look at that. A nice heavy long aluminum pop rivet, and I pop riveted it on. It's not falling off. And all you got to do is drill it out. Everybody owns a drill. It's not that big of a deal. And then pop rivet the new one back on. We have one little issue with that. This is an LED lens. It shouldn't burn out. The top one's easy to get to. The bottom one's completely hidden. So if you have to replace this in the future, because the bottom tucks under, you would have to drill these out from the outside and then use the pop rivet in this direction from the outside. I used it from the inside for the flat head. If you use it from the outside, it will limit how much it opens. In our case, that's not an issue because we got the metal stopping it anyway. So that'll work perfectly. There's that. Now, the next issue we have with this thing is, where's that at? Oh, right here. I didn't even get into wiring. Let's touch wiring real quick. So the wiring comes out of the center of this light. Well, if you keep it in the center and drill your hole in the center, every time you open and shut this, you're moving a lot of wire. The closer you get to your hinge, the less movement you have. See, out here you have a ton. So I took the wires, pushed them to the bottom, and I drilled 2 holes that fit tightly together. So when it closes, they're in perfect line. And the wires just go right across the bottom. You're barely moving those wires when you open and shut this. So that shouldn't ever be an issue. The next issue we would have with them is it's difficult to get in there now to get the plug in and out if this ever goes bad. So I have to figure out a way to sneak the wire around down there to the old wiring, get that connected. I don't think it's going to be horrible, but it isn't going to be fun. The last issue is this thing. Now, this is pretty cool. This is your cap. Now, inside of there, it won't really be fun to turn this because it's threaded. To turn this around and around and around inside there, to pull it out. You see what I'm getting at? And it's got a nice little tether that isn't going to work, at least not like this. I don't know if Tom's going to use this design. We had talked about getting the new GM, just stick it in. A lot of the GMs are doing that now. There's no cap. You just jam the nozzle in there. Again, not my favorite, but it'd be a lot easier than monkeying with this. The second part with this thing is, again, so pretty, so nice. Once you push this down in the hole where it belongs, the bottom of this sits right next to a support bar. Well, you can't get a hose on there. It's literally like that. I don't know what else to show you or how to show you. When you've got that next to a support, you can't get a rubber hose to do that. It's just not going to happen. So this is going to have to be cut back. Now, there's plenty of room to slip a hose on, get a hose clamp. You could come, I don't know, you could go a good inch and a half even. Problem is now you've lost your tether that's hooked to the bottom. And you know how, if any of you are old enough to remember when we had gas caps way back when I was a kid, it seemed like every time you took a gas cap off, you set it on the bumper or you set it up on the fuel fill pump, can't think of names, and you drive away. And the next time you put gas in your car, which would be a week or two later, you'd think, oh, I left that up there. Gas stations literally had boxes of them inside the gas station, but people would take them and steal them or throw them in the trash. So it's nice to have that tethered cap because eventually he'll inevitably leave it somewhere. And if you put it on the bumper, you know, when you go down the road, it's on the ground. You'll never find it. So we'll probably do that push in thing. And then the next part, we're done with this for a while, is I'm going to have to find all those hoses. So that's a junkyard trip. And it is a little too cold out right now and rainy season to do that. But we're this far. Tom, if you're watching, pretty decent. It's super cool. Pretty decent. There's only about 40-ish hours of work in that. Whatever. Now I know how to do it. Back over to the tailgate. Back over to the tailgate. We've got the self-etching primer on there. You can kind of see a little shine still. So it's a little early to be putting the next coat on. But I'm getting ready to go to lunch. And it's just cool out here. And it's moisture in the air. It's not so wet I can't do it. They'll bond together good. So this is the self-etching. The next one is the primer sealer. And we want to run this kind of heavy on here. 2 coats would be perfect, only heavy on the second coat. If we don't have any blemishes or any problems at that point, I can go right to paint. So far, so good. But here we go. All right, I'm going to put this first coat on a little bit light because we've got a little bit, it's just not quite dry as I like to see it. And I have that run. I'm going to see if that'll shrink in a little bit, but after the light coat I put on this dries, I'll come back from lunch. Everything will be dry enough. I can just take my 600 sandpaper and knock that little bit of run off. And then I can hit my final coat of primer sealer. And you want that as wet as paint. It just seals better that way. So that's what I'm after. You know me, I'm going to cut everything in first. I want to make sure I get this is a new can. It's coming out good. That's a little heavy even for there. Gotta go light. Gotta go easy. We all want to push it. Put too much on. Not a good idea. Now this is laying flat, so getting a run on this is it's hard to do unless you're me. I found a way. This coat always looks kind of ugly. You just kind of want to get what my brain tells me is I want to just get the color halfway. So it was gray. I'm going with this. This is kind of white looking. I just want to get that transparent kind of look where you're half gray, half white. It just takes a second. Let's just let it set up a little bit. Not completely. Read the can. If it says 4 hours or less, I would make sure I did it 4 hours or less. I'm kind of a 2 hour guy when it comes to primer. I kind of want it set a little more. If you get a lot of coats of wet paint, well, we'll say wet product on a car, it just tends to not, I mean, it takes forever to dry. That's one thing. And it just tends to want to sag on places and get funny looking. That's all I can say. So there's the light coat. I'll come back, knock this out. I'll bring you back maybe when I put the white on. All right, you gotta go. Keep working. All right, folks, it's that time. Yep, more painting. It's all right, no big deal. So you'll notice that it's primed. You might notice that it's even sanded. So why did I do that? Well, the shop was kind of cold yesterday and it didn't really want to, I don't know what you call it, to flash off good so I could put the paint on there. And then I realized that I was running out of time for the day and I needed to put 2 or 3 coats of paint on it. So I didn't have enough. I didn't do my timing right, okay? You need to have enough time figured out that you can do your 10-minute sprays and your 10 or 15-minute flash offs. Excuse me. So I didn't have enough time. I should have planned better. So what it caused me, it's fine, was to let it dry down so I could do it later. But I had that little tiny bit of run right up there I mentioned to you guys when I was doing the primer. So the benefit is I was able to get in there and work that out completely. And then knock off all the, what do they call that? Orange peel from the layers of primer. It's probably a little better finish. It just takes a lot more time. You got to wait overnight. You get the sanding, and now I have to run over it with some tack cloth. But I wanted to mention the trunnions to you. I ordered these trunnions on Amazon, and you know what you get usually. Pretty high quality, all stainless, nice durable plastic on here. They fit the tailgate perfectly. But I've never measured these. They look the same. It's the right shape. I don't know about thickness and distance or any of that, but the holes don't line up. So I can't put the tailgate in because these are wrong. More junk in the world. I mean, they're really nice junk, well done junk, but yet they're still junk. I'm going to pull the trunnions off of Spanish Gold and then I'll If they just need the holes wallered out a little, I'll keep them. Otherwise, I got to return them. And I think I burnt the box because I wasn't thinking. It's been a week of that, so just bear with me. I'm going to paint this. I'm not going to keep you guys around for that, but I wanted to talk that through. Let me show you what I got going on with the truck box still. That project's not going to quit. All right, so what I've got over here, I just thought I'd talk you through this. Anytime you do work on a truck box and you get the sides all monkeyed around, you got to recenter everything. So I measured across the tops. Kitty corner is 103 1/4 exactly, both ways. And I mean, it's spot right on. I don't always get things perfect, but that's as close to perfect as you can get. Now, I don't believe there's any such thing as perfect other than our good Lord, but let's move right along. This tailgate was out too far in this direction. I shouldn't have said tailgate, box side top. The box side on the other side, which should be the right side or passenger side, was also in this same direction. So we were racked to the left. Just, I mean, 1/4 inch maybe, which I preferred them to be out together so you could pull them back. But you just have to think about your rigging and how you're going to do this. So I know the top of this needs to go that way, and the top of that one needs to go that way. So I hooked it to the bottom. Now there's 4 bolts that deal with this box side, holding it from moving. 2 on the outside behind the light and 2 on the inside. I just put them finger tight on both sides. And when I pulled the bottom of that side to the top of this side on that angle to try and get this 90 degrees, it actually got that side spot on before this side. I ratcheted it a couple times and checked both sides. Being that that one was where I wanted it, I tightened that up really good and tight, probably tighter than I was supposed to. But I want it to be there, don't move on me. Then I was able to put a few more clicks in this and get this bang on as well. So I'm happy. There's no weight on this right now, no tension. But we are right. I mean, we are as perfect as you can get. I think both sides even still. I mean, we are I can't believe it. Never happens. So the last thing we got to do, both sides are all bolted in. Behind the tail light was, come on, behind the tail light was kind of interesting because that side you could access, but this side you can't. So whatever. The last thing we got to do is weld up the bottoms of these. Now GM just put like 1 inch on them. That's probably enough. They know what they're doing. But there's a good 3 inches of metal here, so I'll probably put a 2 inch weld on each side just because we've taken some structure out of this side. But I don't want to weld those until I test fit the tailgate and make sure our gaps are perfect. We could be, theoretically, perfectly square on both sides, but be in too tight and the tailgate might hit. If we're out too wide, it just makes your gaps bigger and big deal, it's tailgate. But I don't want to weld those in until I know. Lord help me if I got to move it much because did you notice? I got it all seam sealed too. I got out here in the shop. I can't help myself. I wanted everything seam sealed. All the seams really match up nice. There's one spot I'm not happy with how they made it, but I'm not going to point it out because I don't want anybody to think about it. You'll never see it. It's my little secret. I didn't do it. It's a manufacturing issue to one of these parts. Again, nobody's ever going to notice. I'm way too picky. I waste too much time doing this piddly stuff that I'm sure nobody cares about. So that's the issue going on back here. We're going to take a break from the box until I can get that tailgate figured out, painted and get some new trunnions. So just let you know what's going on in the shop. Folks, just doing some masking. Next step to the box, getting the sides painted. I got a different way of doing this just because I've got such a large body panel to paint this time. And I want the paint to come up from the outside of the panel, go across the top, and this lip where it turns down. I want that white. So what I want to do first, so that when I'm painting out here, I don't want to be leaning my coat into it, trying to get this inner lip. It's a little more tape and a little more time, but I taped off the top of the rails, and of course I'll put plastic on the rest of it. And I'm just going to paint the inside lip here, get that out of the way, and I'll do this header panel. I always call it a header panel. just the top of this white. Otherwise, it'll be the back of the truck. It just will look better, so I'm going to do it. I'll paint that and these inside lips, and I won't move you around a bunch, but I'm going to do around the box backside, like in these lip areas. Get all the white trim all out. I'll show you that when I get to paint it. So then I can pull this tape off, mask it from the other side so I don't overspray inside the box. And when I'm spraying the outside of the box, I can focus just on this top, and it'll spray right off in a line. You'll never see it. And if by chance it's a little hazy on that edge, it should have a couple coats of paint on it. And you can just take some really fine 1,000, 1,500 and pretty much knock that edge down pretty quick. Remember, edges sand super fast. Wish it all sanded that easy. But you can burn through on a corner quick. So being that I'm painting to a corner, it'll be easy to knock off. You could buff it, but you'd have to go real gentle with it. Again, it's an edge. That way I can just focus on getting the part you're going to get your eyes on. So that's coming up. I did paint the tailgate here. I'll show you that real quick. It turned out really nice. I don't know how much shiny you're going to get from the camera, but for rattle can, it's got a pretty good shine on it. You can see right there the reflection of the lights. Excuse me. It looks good. It turned out great. So there's the box. That's what we've been working on. You guys have seen every side of it, inside of it, bottom side of it. I don't know my series of events coming up specifically, but I gotta get that order done. I know. Just don't not ready. I'm gonna do it this week. I have to. I'm gonna run out of things to do. No, I'm not. But I want to get this painted so it can cure. I need to test fit the tailgate. That's a cumbersome deal. Probably won't bore you with that, but kind of get this box put together. Then I can get it on the truck and open my bay up for other work. That's our next steps. I'll see you guys next week. I gotta go.